Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We're coming up on 7:59 on your Friday morning drive. We take it over to the west side, watching the inbound sunset. An earlier fender bender near the zoo out of the way. And now it's kind of interesting. Fog has been the story this morning for some of us. But look, the sun's trying to shine through right in the driver's face there on the inbound sunset. So that drive is starting to creep up a little bit. 22 minutes. Get you in from Hillsborough to downtown. Speaking of fog, I found some. This is on the east side of Vancouver, Rod. I-205 up near Patton Parkway. There's your southbound commute slowing in the fog this morning.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, it's been interesting. The fog banks have been kind of sliding around. They've been mobile, if you will. And now, Chris showed you one camera that had some improving conditions. There's a little bit of blue up over the West Hills, and I've got partly cloudy skies out my window here next to Lincoln High School as well. So parts of the Portland metro area is seeing some improvement. There's low clouds and fog, but not bad, not nipping the ground. That's down in Oregon City at the end of the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center. We're at 53. We'll have our fog advisory up until 10 o'clock this morning if needed. Otherwise, this turns into a partly cloudy 68-degree afternoon.
You know, if you file a recusal motion, you're basically laying out to the judge the idea that I don't think you can be fair.
Now on KGW Plus, a switch on the judge's stand. We're going to let you know why the judge overseeing today's federal hearing about the legality of the National Guard's deployment to Portland was replaced. Plus,
the idea that it's treated as a national threat is absolutely bonkers crazy.
Protesters outside the ICE facility on Portland's south waterfront also work to counter the Trump administration's view of the city as Portland police arrest multiple people outside that facility. Then,
what we really want to do is to be at work. We're feeling angry at being treated as political pawns.
federal workers speaking out as the government shutdown continues into day 3. And later.
I know the life of a showgirl, babe.
And it's showtime for the life of a showgirl. Coming up at 8:45, how fans are reacting to Taylor Swift's 12th studio album. The 8 o'clock hour of Sunrise starts right now. Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 8 o'clock. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Chris McGinnis, Rod Hill, enter the fray, my friends, and let's talk about weather and traffic.
Yeah, we rolled you the fancy KGW Impact Alert banner because of the fog, which is absolutely still dense and problematic in varying locations. But we're also, for the first time this morning, starting to see other areas pull out of the fog and actually get some blue. This is a really interesting camera. Take a second and just look at everything it has to offer. Chehalim Tasting Room out in Sherwood. Clearly visibility at ground level has improved. You can still see some shallow fog. You can see and then layering of partly cloudy skies with some clearing up to the top of it as well. That was completely socked in not that long ago. 49 degrees is the temperature there. We still have bad fog, but it's not as bad as it was, but still really foggy out over the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club out in Washington County. Nearby Hillsborough Airport showing a temperature of 49 degrees. Down in Wilsonville, 52. Our Salem camera is still showing it's really foggy, 49 degrees. Again, we have the impact alert up at this point through about 10 o'clock this morning. After that, I think the fog in most areas will be improving. Will eventually just be partly cloudy, 60 at noon and 68 degrees at 5 o'clock. But Chris, at least in scattered locations, we are seeing improvement, sir.
Yeah, case in point right here, I-5 near the downtown exit ramp to the Morrison Bridge. You're actually probably below the cloud deck here, so the fog not really an issue there. We'll switch gears, though, and take you up to Clark County. This is I-205 up near Patton Parkway. There's your southbound commute. Looks like there's maybe a traffic stop or a fender bender there over the right shoulder as well, so that's adding to some of the local slowing. That said, not all that bad out there. An earlier crash near the Morrison exit ramp, by the way, that has cleared. And the I-5 drive is improving on that side of town. Meanwhile, got a little sun right in the driver's face here, coming on the inbound Sunset near the zoo. Tripping from Hillsborough, averaging about 23 minutes at last check. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris. Let's get back to our top story this morning. The National Guard's expected arrival here in Portland.
We have team coverage this morning, including Corey Johnson breaking down the arrest that happened just last night outside the South Waterfront ICE facility. But first, we want to go to Thomas Schultz live outside the Oregon Department of Justice because in just 2 hours, the state of Oregon will ask a federal judge to pause the deployment. So, Thomas, what more do we know?
Yeah, well, guys, we now know a new judge will hear this case just a decision made hours before this hearing is set to happen. That happened after the feds filed a motion asking that Judge Michael Simon recuse himself to avoid the appearance of partiality. Simon is married to Oregon Democratic Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici. On Saturday, Bonamici spoke out against President Trump's deployment of 200 Oregon National Guard troops into federal service for 60 days.
This is a gross abuse of power by the president. He does not have the authority to send military troops to a city.
Lewis and Clark law professor Tung Yin says judges often recuse themselves if there's an obvious conflict of interest. That could be something like stock ownership or a close relationship to a party involved. But he says asking judges to recuse themselves and step off a case can be a slippery slope.
Kind of dangerous. You know the saying, you come at the king, you better not miss. If you file a recusal motion, you're basically laying out to the judge the idea that I don't think you can be fair.
Yesterday afternoon, the case was reassigned to Judge Karen Immerget, who is a Trump appointee. There's still a lot of things we don't know, a lot of questions we have ahead of this hearing scheduled at 10 o'clock here in downtown Portland. Like, what exactly the judge is going to do. We don't know what her position on this case is. We also don't know when a decision will be made. It could happen on the bench during this hearing. It could happen later today after the hearing, or frankly, at any time when the judge feels like she's ready to make a decision going forward. Drew, China.
All right, Thomas Schultz with the latest for us there in downtown Portland. And while we wait for the outcome of that hearing, we're also tracking the nightly protest happening outside Portland's ICE facility. Last night's protest led to 3 arrests.
An apparent agitator appeared to get in the faces of some of the demonstrators, which a KGW crew witnessed. Sunrise reporter Corey Johnson joins us live from the ICE facility with more details, including the names of the people arrested. Corey.
Well, Drew, China, overnight, Portland police announced the arrest of 49-year-old Angela Davis of Vernonia, 43-year-old Son Mi Yi of Portland, and 27-year-old Nicholas Sorter of Washington, D.C. on disorderly conduct charges. Now, Sorter is a conservative influencer with more than 1.2 million followers on X. Our crews saw law enforcement officials detaining 3 people Thursday night after an apparent altercation. It happened after a small group of people were peacefully protesting outside the facility. That's when an apparent agitator appeared to get in the faces of some of those demonstrators, exchanging words. Law enforcement officers were then seen arresting 3 people. Then, while federal officers pushed back the crowd to allow several vehicles to exit the facility, KGW was told one person was sprayed in the eyes with mace. Some protesters say they came to counter the narrative.
The idea that this is even national news is already kind of silly. The idea that it's treated as a national threat is absolutely bonkers crazy.
Now, the Portland Police Bureau posted on X saying that it does not engage in immigration enforcement, but is still responsible for maintaining public safety and enforcing state laws. Drew, China.
Corey, thank you. And stay with KGW for continuing coverage on the deployment of the National Guard to Portland and as Oregon's lawsuit against the Trump administration plays out. You can find the latest here on KGW Plus or online at kgw.com.
Meanwhile, Washington County detectives have identified the human remains that were found in the Tualatin River this summer. A kayaker discovered body parts near Rood Bridge Park on August 8th, and more were found the very next day. Investigators confirmed they were the remains of 34-year-old Ezequiel Avila Ruiz, who was last seen in Hillsborough on July 31st. Detectives believe he was the victim of a homicide and are asking anyone with information to come forward.
A traffic control worker is in the hospital with serious injuries this morning after they were hit by a vehicle on I-84. Authorities say the person, potentially a flagger, was struck around 9 o'clock last night. Police say the driver crashed into a barrier. They remain at the scene and are cooperating.
The Oregon Department of Human Services continues to look for this missing foster teen who was last seen in Albany on May 27th. Officials also say 17-year-old Mia Thomas is believed to be in danger. Mia is 5'7", 215 pounds with brown eyes and dyed red hair. If you know where she may be, you should contact the Department of Human Services.
Wells Fargo is laying off 50 workers at its downtown Portland office. The bank has given them 60 days notice, meaning their last official day will be November 28th. This follows 500 layoffs in Hillsborough and 221 in Salem last year as the bank moves to consolidate operations.
The Washington County Sheriff's Office is experimenting with artificial intelligence to sort through body cam video and write up police reports. KGW's Jay Coulter takes a closer look at how the AI works and what safeguards are in place.
This can save them even 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That's more time that they can spend out in the field doing their job.
Corporal David Huey showing KGW the latest technological advancement in policing at the Washington County Sheriff's Office, AI transcription.
This is the conversation that we just had.
It's called Draft 1 and transcribes Axon body-worn camera footage into select police reports.
One of the deputies I talked to yesterday said it took him about 15 to 20 minutes for a report that would typically take him about an hour and a half.
Right now, a select few deputies are part of a 60-day pilot program where they are using the AI transcription tool for calls like DUIs, theft, and trespassing. Corporal Huey says that in his experience, the program has been very accurate, and there are safeguards in place to ensure the reports are factual.
It's going to force the deputy to interact with all the different parts of the report to make sure that it is true and accurate. And then there's a minimum of 20% of the report that the deputy has to adjust or make fixes to.
As an example, the transcription of the conversation between KGW and the corporal contained a glaring error.
So in this instance, it put in an error purposefully that I would have to find, and it says the escape plan involved turning the walls into cheese using a mysterious device, which obviously had nothing to do with our conversation.
And deputies will have to go in and add that human element.
You know, their feelings about that interaction, you know, like maybe there was tensing of fists or something that the dictation part of it is not going to catch.
All of the data from the body-worn camera transcripts and report drafts are securely stored within the Axon network. At the end of the 60-day pilot program, the DA and sheriff's offices will determine if it will be implemented long-term. Jake Holter, KGW News.
Obviously, it's pretty cool, Rob, before we get to the weather impact alert, it's pretty cool that the AI purposely puts mistakes into the report just to make sure that people are fact-checking every single line before it goes out officially. Yes?
Yeah, well, I do the same thing in the 7-day just to make sure you're paying attention, but go ahead.
You put mistakes in your 7-day?
Occasionally.
That is not something we need to be saying to the audience today. What we do need to be saying is there is a legitimate weather impact alert still in place because of the fog out there this morning. So what's the latest on that, Rob?
Yes, sir. Really varying conditions out there this morning. The fog banks have been kind of mobile, and now we are starting to one by one see improving spots. It's actually partly cloudy over the core of downtown, the city center itself right now. We still have foggy spots. I'm going to give you a camera tour in a moment. We have the impact alert for reduced visibility up until about 10 o'clock this morning. Current trends would suggest I may get to lift that earlier. We'll see. Slow down, extra spacing, of course, when you're traveling if you get into one of those reduced low visibility areas. The fog has been more consistent over on the west side. Now, this map is still showing some fog in the downtown, but I've got a window right behind me and we're partly cloudy. It does show dense fog down in McMinnville still, and our camera down in Salem is still showing fog, but even the spots that have been really bad are showing some improvement. Now, here's our Salem live camera. You still can't see the Capitol. That's still absolutely dense fog. But it wasn't that long ago you couldn't even see any of the trees around. So it's not worse. If anything, it is slightly better, 48 degrees. Here's the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club out in Aloha in Washington County. This is much better, actually. You couldn't see the golf course hardly at all. Now you've got the fog kind of up into the trees a little bit, so that's improving, 53. And then here is the Vancouver waterfront. Last time I showed you this, you could not see the I-5 bridge. Well, it's still really foggy, but you can see the I-5 bridge, so that has improved somewhat as well. Temperatures at this point, a few 40s, a lot of 50s, 46 Forest Grove, 54 downtown Portland, 48 degrees down in Salem. The weather map this afternoon shows partly cloudy skies and most areas hitting 60 or slightly warmer. There's a scattered shower threat down in the southeast. Our weekend still looks really good. We get the clouds tonight and especially tomorrow morning. Could be a trace of rain with that. Otherwise, tomorrow's dry. Sunday still looks sunny and 73. So, Chris, what I'm seeing is one by one, we're getting some improving conditions out there.
I probably have to agree with you there, except for this, and I don't think this is fog related. Rod, I-5 southbound, it looks like there's a fender bender just past the 405 on-ramp between here and the Rose Quarter, and so traffic's running a little extra thick on that side of town. In fact, let's go to door number 3. It looks like traffic's actually lined up back towards Columbia Boulevard at this point. So I-5 South is running a little thick. You're tripping from Clark County. Most of this extra time is on the Oregon side of the Interstate Bridge. South of town, there's some of the fog around Capitol Highway. And again, this is up in elevation, like at about 600 feet. So cars kind of go up into the fog and then they come back down. The visibility clears out. That said, the drive actually, Drew, not that bad on this Friday morning.
All right, thank you, Chris. Big event, of course, coming up this weekend in Portland, the annual Portland Marathon, which is happening on Sunday. So coming up here, Chris McGinnis runs right back at us. He's going to get us up to speed on this year's course and the traffic impacts.
Federal workers across the country are without pay until the government reopens. I'm Bianca Ficini in Washington. Coming up, we'll have the latest on the government shutdown and what to expect from the next vote this afternoon.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
All right, big race here in Portland this weekend. The Portland Marathon takes over city streets on Sunday, and the resident runner here on the Sunrise Show, Chris McGinnis, is going to get us ready with a look at this year's course and the race's traffic impacts.
3, 2, 1.
On Sunday, an estimated 12,000 runners will hit the streets for the annual Portland Marathon.
The running community in Portland is so amazing. There's so much support, welcoming people of all abilities and all paces.
For Seth Buckwalter, who leads a local run club, the race is about setting goals, no matter the distance.
The most exciting thing about Sunday is having 12,000 people down in the waterfront registering. They're showing up, they're trying to finish, and they're trying to break PRs.
As always, the marathon course crosses the Broadway, Burnside, and Selwood bridges. TriMet says 20 bus routes will have slight detours, and the race also crosses the Max line at 4 locations, meaning some riders could see some slight delays from 5 a.m. until the race wraps up. This year's marathon also unfolds with Portland in the national spotlight after the president's decision to send National Guard troops into the city.
You know, I think there's a lot of talk surrounding Portland. It's coming back. We're having a really great, we're feeling very safe.
I'm just really hoping that we end this marathon with everyone just being safe, feeling good, and, you know, everyone having a great time.
Still, runners say focus is on community and celebration.
It's really a day for celebration, what people have looked up to all this time.
So Sunday, I am running the Portland Full Marathon, and I'm pretty stoked about it.
As are the 12,000 other participants and likely the spectators too. Okay, so the event includes not only the marathon, but a half, 10K, and a kids fun run. They all start and finish in downtown Portland. They loop through dozens of Portland neighborhoods, and of course they cross 3 Willamette River bridges. Now the most impactful closure, I think, of all is the Broadway Bridge, because that's a full closure. All traffic, both directions, from 6:30 to 9. A westbound lane on the Selwood Bridge, and remember there's only 2 lanes on that bridge, so the westbound lane's closed from 6:30 to 10:45, and the Water Avenue ramp to the Hawthorne Bridge will also be closed for about 4 hours from 7:30 until 1:30. All right, that's Sunday. Let's get you out the door now and a live look at the road, showing one trouble spot right now in the Rose Quarter. I-5 southbound. Looks like we've got a fender bender just south of the Moda Center, and that's backing up the I-5 commute. This is right where the Fremont Bridge comes in, and so we're a little extra thick on that side of town. Speed sensors show 11 miles an hour. I'm not even sure we're moving that fast at that point. So it's a little slow from there back towards Columbia Boulevard. That said, the drive from Clark County, not bad. You hit the brakes once you get down towards the Expo Center. 17 minutes gets you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Guys?
Thank you, Chris. All right, your time now is 8:18. Is a weather impact alert day because there is fog, but that is only lasting for another hour and a half.
Till 10. I may lift it at 9 or at least 9:30.
You have that authority, do you?
It's kind of cool, actually.
Do not make this
kind of
man's
cool.
head any bigger.
Well, we're seeing improving conditions. Not everywhere, but I bet you about half of the area that was really socked in with fog is now showing improving conditions. So we're trending in the right way. I just want to show you the satellite radar. This is not showing you the fog, but it does show you that we are primarily dry as we expected. There are some showers lingering around Burns and then down toward the Klamath Basin. Most of today's rain's over into Idaho. So once we lose the fog here on the west side of our state, we're going to be looking great. This is noon today. It's fog getting out of here. Partly cloudy skies already emerging over downtown Portland. And then we have a nice evening. Now, if you're out and about this evening, this is 8 p.m., you'll notice clouds increasing. They're rolling in from the south, rolling in from our northwest. It'll still be cloudy for the most part tomorrow morning. And there may, in fact, be some traces of rain around overnight tonight and tomorrow. And then later in the day, we'll see partial clearing, and that will lead to a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. So again, I think tomorrow is mainly dry. There's that chance of a traceable raindrop. And Sunday for your weekend still looks clear. All right, cameras. This has never really been foggy. It is overcast. This is Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. And this is sunny. Haven't shown you much in the way of sun this morning, but the gorge has it. This is beautiful Hood River. You can see the blue skies. There's the practice green right there. That's Indian Creek Golf Course. Winds are light. Gorge temperatures will be pretty similar to Portland, up into the upper 60s, maybe even hitting 70 today. So that's pretty nice out in Hood River. Now, this is the Wells Fargo camera. It's kind of gray, but for the first time this morning, looking from the top of the Wells Fargo building, you can see the city below. So that's greatly, greatly improved from what we were seeing. And this is one of our sunnier valley cameras now. Still some ribbons of fog down low, but blue skies developing up top. Temperature out in Sherwood from the Chehalem tasting room is 49 degrees. Kelso 52. I don't have eyes on you folks this morning in terms of fog, but Chris did show some fog pockets up through the center. We've had reports of fog all the way up into Seattle, so that's what we know. 48 in Bend, 48 degrees in Baker City. Nobody's really cold this morning. We have fog here on the west side and then a mix of cloudiness out east. So the fog advisory, the impact alert, no later than 10 o'clock this morning. We'll get that out of here. After that, we'll go on to be partly cloudy and 67 on average, and about 67 in the battleground too. Winds will be light today. Turns into a nice Friday once we get all of the fog out of here. Again, that's the reason for the impact alert. The chance of a trace of rain tomorrow. The sunny Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Real nice stretch of weather coming starting Sunday, China.
Thank you, Rod. It is day 3 of the government shutdown. The Senate is expected to vote again to end the shutdown, but it's not clear if Democrats and Republicans are any closer to an agreement. We have the latest from D.C. coming up.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Senators are expected to vote again today to end the government shutdown, which is now in its third day. But the expected vote is not expected to lead to a resolution.
And now furloughed federal employees are concerned about their jobs and paychecks. NBC's Bianca Fascini has the latest from Washington, D.C.
The government shutdown has families across the country bracing for the worst.
We're kind of getting used to uncertainty.
And as federal workers wait for updates, they're feeling frustrated.
What we really want to do is to be at work. We're feeling angry at being treated as political pawns.
It's unclear if Democrats and Republicans have made any progress in negotiations. The Senate is scheduled to vote again today, but the measures aren't expected to pass. In the meantime, the Trump administration is planning on layoffs.
Look, it's likely going to be in the thousands.
President Trump met with Budget Director Russ Vought on Thursday. In a post online, he said the two would discuss which Democrat agencies Vought recommended be cut. Democrats say the president is using the shutdown to target them.
The American people are crystal clear on who shut down the government. Crystal clear. They know it was Donald Trump and Republicans for a wide variety of reasons.
It's the government shutdown.
Meanwhile, Republican Senate Leader John Thune says negotiations over health care, the sticking point for Democrats, can start only once the government opens up again.
I don't think you can keep this hostage. As soon as they release the hostage, then we can talk about those other issues.
Neither side showing signs of backing down, with no breakthrough in sight. So far, hundreds of thousands of workers have been furloughed, which means they will not see any pay until the government reopens. In Washington, Bianca Fascini, NBC News.
Still ahead at 8:30, Sunrise reporter Corey Johnson has more on everything you need to know about how the shutdown could impact you. Then at 8:45.
It's like our Super Bowl.
Taylor Swift drops album number 12, The Life of a Showgirl, already breaking records and the internet. Coming up, a deep dive into Taylor's new era.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW+. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW+. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Good morning, I'm Drew Carney. This morning's 10 o'clock hearing on Oregon's lawsuit against the Trump administration to block the deployment of the National Guard to Portland has a new federal judge overseeing it. The Trump administration filed a motion asking that Judge Michael Simon recuse himself from the case because his wife, Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici, spoke out against the deployment. The case has been reassigned to Judge Karen Immerget, who is a President Trump appointee. All right, Rod Hill, what do you have for us this morning?
We have improving conditions. In fact, coming into downtown Portland, the fog concern is completely gone, as you can see, and we're starting to open up partly cloudy skies, 53 degrees. That was rapid improvement. But there are other spots where it's still somewhat foggy. The Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club looks like the fog is gone, but the low cloud deck hasn't lifted enough to break up yet. It is still really foggy near the state capitol in Salem. So the fog advisory, the impact alert, still up. We'll probably cancel that at 9 o'clock this morning. Otherwise, it goes on to be a partly cloudy day and really nice. 60 at noon, 68 degrees at 5 p.m.
Look at that shot. It's kind of what happened to that weather impact alert we were just talking about. This doesn't look like an alert at all. This looks beautiful. But yes, it is a weather impact alert this morning.
Not for the mountain.
Right. Blue skies up on Mount Hood this morning. That is not why we are bringing you the alert. The alert is for what's happening down in the valley. Lots of fog in the valley this morning. It's going to go away soon, but we're not out of the woods just yet.
It's starting to clear in some spots, including downtown Portland. By the way, 37 up at Timberline. That snow was down close to 6,500 feet from the last couple of days. This is the worst of the fog that I can find. This is that view that looks, there's the Capitol Mall, and then this should be the Capitol right here. We think the Capitol is still there. If it's not, we're going to have a crew all over this story. All right. I know. They did a renovation, so you can't see it. 48 degrees is the temperature outside. Portland was never that foggy in the city core, and now the fog is completely gone. Still some fog nipping at the West Hills, 53. So the conditions are quite varied out there, as you can see. The impact alert up at least until 9 this morning for the fog pockets still around. Noon here in Portland will be partly cloudy and 60, and then really a nice afternoon, 68. The only measurable chance of any shower activity today is out in the southeastern area of our state and probably down around Klamath Falls, south central Oregon as well. You can see otherwise mainly a dry Friday shaping up with temperatures primarily in the 60s for the weekend. So the impact alert is going to be expiring soon as the fog conditions improve. Nice at 68. Clouds tonight and tomorrow could lead to some traces of rain, but I still think Saturday is mainly dry and pleasant. We'll get out of those clouds later in the day. We'll have a sunny 73 degrees Sunday. Early morning temperature is 48. Of course, the Portland Marathon is going on. And then we have clear skies to start next week on Monday and Tuesday. That's the update. Here is Chris McGinnis.
Rod, thanks for that. With the fog lifting, the drive actually not in that bad a shape out there. Usually Friday's a little lighter anyway, but one of our slow spots, not sure why we're looking at that camera. There we go. That's the one I wanted to look at. That's I-5 up near Lombard. We had an earlier fender bender, the Rose Quarter, so I think that's why we're running a little extra thick on that side of town. And at last check, it's 21 minutes now to get you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. And most of this slowing is on the Oregon side of the Interstate Bridge. Things actually look fine on the Clark County side of the river this morning. Over on the west side, as the sun begins to burn through some of that fog, now the drivers climbing the Sylvan Hill have sun glare to contend with, right? Your drive coming in from Hillsborough has jumped up to around 21 minutes at last check. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Chris. Your time now is 8:32, and we are continuing to track protests outside of the ICE facility near Portland's South Waterfront. At least 5 people were arrested or detained last night after multiple fights broke out. Portland police announcing that they arrested 3 people, including conservative influencer Nick Sorter, on disorderly conduct charges.
We're also just a few hours away from a court hearing where a federal judge will rule on the state's request to stop the National Guard's deployment to Portland. That case is actually expected to start at the top of the hour. Kyle Boshi explains why a new judge was appointed to hear this case.
Just hours before the state of Oregon heads to federal court seeking a temporary restraining order to block the deployment of federal troops in Portland, The Trump administration filed a motion asking the judge to step aside. The Fed suggests Judge Michael Simon recuse himself from the case to avoid the appearance of partiality. Judge Simon is married to Representative Suzanne Bonamici.
We do not need and we do not want federal troops here in Oregon.
On Saturday, the Democratic Congresswoman from Oregon spoke out against President Trump's deployment, ordering 200 members of the Oregon National Guard into federal service for 60 days.
This is a gross abuse of power by the president. He does not have the authority to send military troops to a city.
Lewis and Clark law professor Tong Yin explains judges often recuse themselves if there's an obvious conflict of interest, like stock ownership or a close relationship to a party. But asking a judge to step aside is a slippery slope.
It's kind of dangerous. You know the saying, you come at the king, you better not miss. If you file a recusal motion, you're basically laying out to the judge the idea that I don't think you can be fair.
Thursday afternoon, the case was reassigned to Judge Karen Immergut. For several months, a small group of demonstrators has gathered in front of the ICE facility in South Portland, leading to occasional clashes with federal agents protecting the building. Oregon's Attorney General filed a lawsuit and sought a restraining order trying to block Trump from deploying troops. At a hearing Friday, the state is expected to argue the deployment is unlawful. Oregon and Portland will suffer irreparable harm, and local police have the situation under control. Portland Police Chief Bob Day echoed that argument Monday.
I don't see the need for the National Guard at this time.
The Trump administration will likely counter that protesters have caused damage to the ICE facility, hurt agents protecting the building, and interfered with federal employees doing their work. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
And President Donald Trump appointed Judge Karen Immergut to the bench in the District of Oregon in 2019. Before that, she served as a judge on the Multnomah County Circuit Court for 10 years. And prior to that, she was the U.S. Attorney for Oregon, appointed by President George W. Bush.
Mayor Keith Wilson continues to express his opposition to the National Guard's deployment to Portland. The latest example comes from an editorial in Time magazine titled, "Portland Doesn't Need or Want Federal Troops." In that article, Mayor Wilson pushed back on President Trump's claims that Portland is a war zone, writing in part, quote, "I cannot express the sadness and disappointment I feel when I hear the leader of our country call for the militarization of a situation that does not exist. With murky, unknown, and potentially deadly rules and no clear definition of success or failure." Mayor Wilson continued with, quote, "The federal government is retreating from its long-standing housing and economic responsibility to cities across the nation. Anyone," he says, "willing to lend a hand to Portland has a seat at the table, including the federal government. We want them back," Mayor Wilson said, "at that table, the sooner the better." Again, that was Portland Mayor Keith Wilson in Time magazine. It is day 3 of the government shutdown, with another Senate vote expected today aimed at resolving the country's funding issues.
And while lawmakers debating in D.C., a lot of people are wondering what's still open, what this all means for day-to-day services and financial transactions. Sunrise reporter Corey Johnson has what you need to know.
Well, Drew, China, federal shutdowns don't stop everything, but they can slow things down. I reached out to agencies that have offices here locally to see exactly what's still running. Now, TSA tells me about 61,000 of its 64,000 employees are considered essential and still working. The rest are furloughed. At PDX, U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents are also essential, so flights are moving normally for now. But Port of Portland officials reminded me that in previous lengthy shutdowns, TSA callouts led to long checkpoint lines. I also reached out to the Social Security Administration. They tell me that you can still come to their offices here in Portland or in Southwest Washington, but their services are limited currently. Right now, they can't provide proof of benefits letters or make any updates to earnings records. The Better Business Bureau says now is the time to double check any major financial transactions tied to the government, like loans, payments, or refunds.
If you're waiting on some sort of processing through the federal government and somebody reaches out and they say, "Hey, I can help expedite this for you for a fee," that's a big red flag to watch out for. That's one of the common imposter schemes that we see. And we say avoid that. They're not legitimate. They can't actually help make the government shutdown go faster, essentially.
Now, in 2019, a 35-day partial shutdown cost the U.S. economy about $11 billion. Now, financial experts say the longer the shutdown lasts, the more consumers are likely to feel it. Drew, China.
We have an update this morning on students' performance in Oregon classrooms.
For years, kids have been struggling to make up from lost learning during the pandemic. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz has more after crunching the numbers.
Well, the state numbers are a little bit better than last year, but they're still a ways off from where they would like them to be. The Oregon Department of Education found that 43% of kids across the state are proficient in English. That's a little bit better than a year ago. And Oregon students have really struggled to bounce back after COVID shuttered many classrooms for more than a year. Oregon schools stayed closed longer than many other school districts, and students are recovering from lost learning at a slower rate than others around the country. In math, just 31.5% of Oregon kids are proficient. That is a slight improvement from a year ago, when 31% of kids were proficient in math. But in both English and math, students are far behind where they were pre-pandemic. Still, some of the largest school districts in the state, like Portland Public, have seen some improvement after allocating a lot of resources to recovering that lost learning.
We understand that our COVID babies are coming to us with more screen time sometimes than teacher time, and we're working to try to close those gaps.
In the state's second biggest district, Salem-Keizer, English scores are up for many grade levels. In math, they've seen slight improvement too, but the big thing here, only 20% of Salem-Keizer students are proficient in math. Across the state, it's about a third of students. Reading scores are a little bit better, and while there is progress, there's still a lot of work to go. In Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
All right, Chris McGinnis, what do you have for us traffic-wise?
We got one bit of trouble. Let's go ahead and zoom in on it. I-5 southbound, a fender bender of the Rose Quarter. I can't see it from this vantage point, but we've got one lane blocked. It's just south of the Broadway exit ramp, and so that's causing this extra slowing here through North Portland. It extends all the way back towards Columbia Boulevard. So plan a few extra minutes around that. I mean, usually the Friday morning commute is lighter than Monday through Thursday, but this one is slow. 24 minutes gets you in from Main Street south to the Fremont Bridge. A reminder, it is marathon weekend. There's the trace of the course, all 26.2 miles of it through dozens of Portland neighborhoods over 3 Portland bridges. That means TriMet impacts on MAX lines, 20 bus lines will be detoured as well. The biggest traffic impact, I think, is going to be about a 2.5-hour closure, full closure of the Broadway Bridge. So if your plans take you to and from downtown Portland Sunday morning, just know that the annual marathon is taking place. Guys, back to you.
All right, good point, Chris. Thank you very much.
What's your reaction right now?
Oh my God!
Oh, gee, please. Man, stereo screaming this morning on the Sunrise Show. Here's the bottom line. Swifties could not wait. They could not wait, so they started lining up at midnight for Taylor Swift's new album. Coming up here on the show, we're going to talk about the fans who camped out to get their hands on Life of a Showgirl and why some streamers may have been left hanging. Low-key.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Low key. I tried to spit it out. I couldn't. I'm trying to use low key with China because it makes her embarrassed when I do that. Okay, anyway, back to business. Taylor Swift broke the internet again, low key. Taylor has officially released her 12th studio album, and many Swifties trying to listen right as the album dropped last night had to wait an extra few minutes. I mean, they were frustrated, low key.
He's trying to be so cool right now. But that's because both Apple Music and Spotify crashed with so many fans rushing to be the first to listen.
Sus!
I knew
That
it
is
was
sus.
coming. I knew it was coming. Despite the rocky susness, fans all over the world are celebrating the new music and speculating what's to come. NBC's Emily Ikeda has the latest.
Low key.
Okay.
This morning, it's showtime for The Life of a Showgirl. As Taylor Swift releases her 12th studio album, fulfilling fans' wish list. The music superstar also sharing new photos overnight on social media, along with the message, if you thought the big show was wild, perhaps you should come and take a look behind the curtain. Swifties holding streaming parties nationwide in anticipation, already reacting to the 12 new tracks.
I swear this is me working really hard.
And we were there as devoted fans lined up at Target stores to grab hard copies at the stroke of midnight.
What's your reaction right now? Oh my God! So good.
It's like our Super Bowl.
One of Taylor's new songs puts a unique spin on George Michael's classic hit, Father Figure. Swift already in full-on publicity mode ahead of her eagerly awaited appearance later today on The Graham Norton Show.
The album is out and I have such uncomplicated feelings of joy about it.
Making the rounds on British radio.
This album is a complete and total snapshot of what my life looks like right now.
It's been anything but a cruel summer for Swift.
This is my brand new album.
She first announced the new project back in August on then-boyfriend Travis Kelce's podcast.
I've been fortunate enough to hear every single song on here, so I know they're all 12 bangers.
Just weeks later, the couple nearly broke the internet with the news of their engagement.
Yeah, look what I got. Oh my God, the ring!
Their love story, seemingly the inspiration for some of the new tracks.
I knew that this was the kind of album that he was going to love the most.
Mm-hmm.
He's like so supportive of all of it, but like he's a real vibes guy.
The Life of a Showgirl smashing records even before its release, becoming the most pre-saved album in Spotify's history. At this Life of a Showgirl Spotify pop-up event in New York, lines were wrapped around the block this week for an era fans are literally buzzing about.
It just feels like everybody's like vibrating. It's just so much excitement. I could feel the glitter in people, if that makes sense. I love that.
Meanwhile, meteorologist Rod Hill still in line outside for that Taylor Swift album.
yeah.
Rod, what's the latest? How long does that line look this morning?
Well, oh my gosh, it's long. I have to ask China a question. I know you guys hate this, but I think, China, you will know the answer to this.
I don't.
She called her fiance, Travis Kelce, a vibes guy. What does that mean? A vibes guy.
Vibes guy?
Vibes, V-I-B-E-S.
Travis is a vibes guy. I didn't know what it meant.
No idea.
You don't know either?
No.
Okay.
Yep, you're still doing it, Rod. You're still asking those questions that we don't know the answers to.
I feel cool just knowing that I don't know what you know. That makes me feel like a vibes guy. Let's get you to the visibility map. I'm up here on the weather deck, brought to you by Rick's Custom Fencing and Decking. We've seen some blue, it's gone away, but really there's no fog here in downtown anymore. We've really seen improving conditions. And I can look up at the West Hills and the fog has really improved up there as well. Now with that said, the map is still showing colored in the whitish gray tones. The fog most prevalent on the west side. Go ahead and hit the button and this will take us down into the Salem metro area. Salem has been the bullseye of some of the worst prolonged fog. 1 mile visibility now being reported at McNary Field. So here's what's going on. We're still dealing with fog pockets, but many areas are starting to see improvement. Once we get out of the fog, it'll be a nice Friday, partly cloudy skies, dry, will be up into the 60s. And then it's a nice evening for you tonight as well. Futurecast shows that. Here we are at 5 p.m., lots of sun. Now we'll click this map and you'll see the clouds coming in this evening and overnight into tomorrow morning where there could be some traces of rain. But later in the day, Friday, we start to pull out of that. And then we go on to see clearing skies. You wake up Sunday morning, there's a good chance Sunday morning we'll simply see clear skies. Yeah, boom, there it is. Maybe some early fog or clouds on Sunday, but basically a clear day expected. Okay, let's get you to the current conditions out the door. I mentioned Salem has been the worst of the fog. You still can't see the Capitol, but you can see the mall area and some of the trees, which you could not see anything an hour ago. 48 is the temperature. Another live sky camera for you. This one from the Vancouver, the Springs at the waterfront, and we're back to not being able to see the I-5 bridge. So we have this people coming out of Vancouver hit fog over the bridge, and then by the time you get through Jantzen Beach and the Delta Park, the fog looks a little bit lifted and better. So one last camera. There's downtown where I'm standing, and you know, you can see that visibility is not bad. Notice the raindrops. That's a little bit of mist coming out of that dense fog along the Columbia River out at PDX, which can always happen when it's foggy like this. Temperatures, real quick look. Nobody's really cold this morning because we have some cloudiness out east as well. Baker City's 48. Again, Portland's 53. Here is the forecast for you. Partly cloudy skies are coming, Salem, about 68 degrees. We'll show you the Southwest Washington forecast. It's roughly the same with light west winds. It shows Longview up to, well, 68. Here's the 7-day. So we have the impact alert still up for these fog banks, but many of them are improving. Later today, nice and 68. Mainly dry tomorrow, could be a trace of rain, and then there's the sunny 73-degree Sunday. And that is your forecast for now. I think Chris is following me from one vibe guy to another vibe guy, whatever that means.
We're feeling the vibes. We're putting our best people on this to figure out exactly what a vibe guy is, and we'll get that to you later here on Sunrise. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about this. Killing the vibe is this, the I-5 southbound traffic slow in the Rose Quarter right now. So we've got a fender bender just past this vantage point. One lane is blocked, and that's why traffic is really thick. I'll show you what it looks like near the Fremont Bridge, and then taking you up towards Going Street. Again, you can see that I-5 South is plugged up this morning. And by Friday morning standards, Fridays are usually a little lighter than Monday through Thursday. This is a little slow. 23 minutes to get you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Other drive times shape it up like this. 22 minutes to get you in from Hillsborough, and less than 20 now to get you in from Troutdale on I-84. We'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Here's a quick recap of some of this morning's top local stories. Just over an hour from now, a federal judge will decide if the National Guard's deployment in Portland is legal. Oregon sued the Trump administration this week to stop the deployment. That hearing is expected to start at 10 o'clock. We're also tracking the ongoing protests at Portland's ICE facility. Portland police say they arrested 3 people last night. 49-year-old Angela Davis of Vernonia, 43-year-old Sun Mi Yi of Portland, and 27-year-old Nicholas Sorter, who is a conservative influencer from D.C. Police say those arrests follow multiple fights that broke out last night at the ICE facility. And a traffic control worker is in the hospital this morning with serious injuries after they were hit by a vehicle on I-84. Police say the person potentially was a flagger. They were hit around 9 o'clock last night. Police also say the driver crashed into a barrier. They did remain at the scene, though, and are cooperating with the investigation.
Weather-wise, we still have the impact alert up for fog. Most areas are seeing improving conditions, and the fog continues to be somewhat mobile, meaning the pockets are moving around. But eventually, this afternoon's all nice, partly cloudy, 68, mainly dry tomorrow, sunny on Sunday.
Friday morning drive, not in too bad a shape. One trouble spot, I-5 south in the Rose Quarter, a fender bender that's still kind of backing up the drive into North Portland. Right now it's about a 20-minute drive bridge to bridge. Speaking of bridges, the Portland Marathon is this weekend. It crosses 3 Portland bridges. There's the 26.2-mile route.
There it goes.
Yeah, we drew it on a map. Isn't that cool looking?
Yeah.
So just be aware of that Sunday morning in downtown. Should be an awesome day.
And here's a few of our favorite sunrise moments from this week.
Blissfully devoted.
Summer love, maybe.
Summer loving.
It's the same song,
isn't it? Wait a minute. Are we on the air? Oh boy.
It's the same song.
That's embarrassing.
We're live.
Sing it with me. You ready? Raindrops keep falling on my head. Come on, guys.
But that doesn't
mean my something I don't know the
dropping
words.
Oh my God.
Gonna let the gourd times roll.
I will say this video is the best thing since Fat Bear Week, which I already missed. Chunk, 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 chunk.
I heard he was quoted after the competition. Rod, you know what he said?
What did he say?
Hey, yo, Adrian!
Oh my God.
I did it!
Why does it always go back to the Rocky or Rookie or what is it?
Rocky.
Rocky.
What? Oh my God, you should be banned.
When I'm off work, if I don't have to cross the Columbia River, I don't. I stay up in Vancouver.
And there's that rock, right? Isn't there that big rock you crawl under and then they close the rock on top of you?
Again, slow and steady from Main Street. That trip.
That was funny, Chris.
The drip being your wardrobe, right? Isn't that?
There you go.
Isn't that what the drip is?
Yes, I thought it was funny.
I don't know what day that was, but Rod is still laughing at that moment. So some moments funnier than others for sure if you're Rod Hill. Are we done?
I think we're done.
Are we
Well,
done for
you
the
guys
week?
are done.
Did we not
We're
find out what a
done.
vibe guy is? You didn't Google that or anything?
You are the definition of a vibe guy.
Well, now we know.
Yeah.
You know they put that under
Do
your...
this thing.
I didn't see
There you
that.
go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, they had Vibe Guy right under your name, Rod, in your last weather hit for the morning. Sunrise show, all done for the week. We'll see you back here on Monday. In the meantime, have a great weekend.